I'm Lisa Nichols, and I'm so excited about my next guest. This particular woman is so exciting. Sage, you are the definition of delicious. And I cannot wait for my audience to get to know you. Tell me a little bit about your story and tell me how you came up with your business and how do you serve your clients?
I used to be a high school science teacher and I loved the kids. I loved teaching. But I began to see over the years how so many of the kids struggled. And I have a background in women's leadership and women's studies. And I began to think, what if I could pour into the moms? What if I could pour into the women and they could raise healthier kids that could learn better in school and we could get to the front side of this whole thing? And so I did. I stepped away from teaching. But I had no idea what I was doing. I come from a long line of school teachers. My mom didn't want me selling Girl Scout cookies because she was afraid I would offend the neighbors. Like, that's how non-entrepreneurial my family was. But I sat myself down and I decided I was gonna figure it out. And over time, I started to be successful at business. And I started teaching business through the lens of women's values. And so now we teach women messengers and women speakers and women business owners to do business from a place of collaboration rather than competition, and generosity rather than scarcity and urgency. And we help women, instead of learning to close sales, we help them learn to open relationships. And we're also standing for closing the gender pay gap, so that women make $1 or more for every man's dollar. And Women Rocking Business has grown to be a multi-million-dollar company. We're reaching over 500,000 women in 174 different countries.
I love it.
And we've raised over $1 million for girls in developing countries. And I couldn't be more proud of myself and the courage it took and all the women who I've had the honor to support over the years.
Oh, it's so exciting. Like, so many reasons to like dance with you right now and high five. Tell me, in order to do something like that, you had to have had several emotional roller coasters. And what was the emotional roller coaster like for you as you began in this business and the mission? What were some of those roller coasters? What did they look like?
Lisa, starting a business is an emotional roller coaster. But I remember when I left teaching, I had no money. So I had to figure it out. I moved into my grandfather's motorhome to start my business on a hand-me-down laptop in the winter. And it was so freezing cold. I would sit at this laptop. It took 2 minutes just to load a website. It was so cold, I had to take an old pair of gloves and cut the fingers off the tips of the gloves so I could just get my hands to work to try to figure out how to find my clients online. And over time, I actually didn't fail. I started to succeed. And a few months into it, I did enroll my first 82 clients and I made my first $27,000. Now, I needed that money so I could afford rent to move out of the RV. But the credit card processing company seized the money because they didn't know I was a real business, which was so unfair because I worked so hard. I earned that money. I needed that money. And the irony is, as they seized my money, my neck seized up and I could not move my head. And now I got 82 brand new clients that are expecting a brand new training for me tomorrow. And I can't even move my head. I'm in total pain. I remember falling to my knees. It was a fall to your knees moment. And I dragged myself outside under the sky. And I just had one of those really good long cries. I remember my heart opened and I actually felt connected to every woman on the planet who's stuck in a painful situation because of money. And so many women who are in way more painful situations than I was really in. And I remember making a vow. And when things get seriously hard, which they do sometimes, I remember that vow and I refocus my energy and I refocus my team's energy to stand for those women.
Oh my God, it's just so many parts of this that's so good to hear and to remember. Now, as you're refocusing and as you're navigating, doubt comes up. How did you get the confidence to negate the negative thoughts and to realign with the faith in Sage? How did you do that?
It's such a good question. You might remember I came to your mastermind in Tampa.
I do.
And I flew myself to Tampa in the middle of some of my business operations falling apart.
It wasn't a good time for you.
It was not a good time for me.
Wasn't convenient.
It was not convenient. And I remember sharing with you that balls had been dropped. Now, here's the thing. Balls had been dropped in my business, and which I hate. And I began to doubt whether I could maintain what I had built.
Yes.
And I began to doubt whether I loved what I was doing anymore.
Yes.
And I'm from Iowa. We are not ball droppers. We follow through on what we say we're going to do.
Yes.
And I remember I confided in you what was happening for me. And you took me by both hands, Lisa, and you looked me in the eyes and you said, girl, I know who you are. You have passion, you have determination, you have integrity. So I invite you to take a deep breath and get back to work. And I did, Lisa. And I fixed it. And we caught the balls and we created structures so those balls won't drop again. And when I have doubt come up, I remember that moment.
Yes.
And other moments like it. Because sometimes I can get myself out of the doubt, but sometimes I need a sister. And I want to thank you for standing for me that day and for standing for millions of us to believe in ourselves when the doubt sinks in, because we need each other.
Yeah, we do. And in that moment, I was simply evidence of what you created. Like you created a space for women to hold each other. And so it's wonderful to be able to walk that journey with you. Tell me, what was a moment when, you've taken this journey from being a teacher and you turn the corner, mom is saying, don't sell the cookies, right? And all of a sudden you're selling cookies, right, to everybody. What was a big breakthrough moment in your business where it's going to be all right? Matter of fact, it's going to be more than all right. What was that big breakthrough moment in your business?
Yeah. It was Friday at 5 p.m. and my COO called me on the phone and she said, we're canceled. Sage, we're canceled. We can't do the event. It was March 17th, 2020.
I remember you telling me about this.
And that was a Friday. My event started Monday. And I remember thinking to myself, wait a second.
As in 2 days later.
2 days.
Okay.
Wait a second, I thought. We have 700 women flying in from all over the world. This is the biggest event of my career. Wait a second. We've been preparing 6 months, my team and I. Wait a second. This is a revenue event. We use this event to pay my team for the entire year. My COO and I didn't know what to do. So we called in the forces, we're calling people, we're asking people. A bunch of people said, just reschedule. The world will be open up again in a few weeks.
Sure it will.
Yeah, sure it will. I remember looking in the mirror and saying, Sage Levine, don't you dare reschedule this event. You have a transformation to deliver.
Yes.
That was after another fall to my knees moment where I had a good long cry. Thank goodness one of my girlfriends was there, because when she found out I was going to do the event behind my computer on Zoom, she said, how can I help? I said, you could go get me a bunch of toilet paper and a bunch of canned goods, because I have to reconfigure an entire event to be able to deliver it behind my laptop. And my team and I worked all weekend long to deliver the event on Zoom behind our computers. And we didn't just have 700 women, we had over 1,000 women show up.
What did you do with the toilet paper?
Well, in COVID, everybody was running out of toilet paper.
Yes.
Toilet paper had become like a limited natural resource.
Yes. So in 2 days,
In 2 days,
you redirected 700 women.
reconfigured the entire event. I made a video, asked the women to stay home. The governor of California had shut down all events. We did the event behind my computer.
Biggest pivot of ever.
Biggest pivot ever. We did $1 million in revenue. We had over 1,000 women come because now they can come behind their computers. And what I'm most proud of is we were able to take what we learned doing this successful event, sitting behind the computer on Zoom, and we taught my entire community how to do events behind their computers.
Wow.
And during COVID, their partners were losing their jobs. Some of them were losing their jobs. They didn't know what they were going to do. my clients were able to get online and do events from behind their computers and make all kinds of money and create all kinds of transformation.
So while people want to know the list of everything you did, this leads me to, what's the piece of advice that you would give? I feel like I just got some of it, but I want more. What's the piece of advice that you would give to help people have a breakthrough in their business in this particular current business climate?
I've had the privilege of working with thousands of women from all walks of life, and we're all gonna have our fall to our knees moments.
Yes.
We're all gonna have them. If we're shifting our careers, if we're taking the stage for the first time starting a business, sometimes it's gonna feel impossible. But what I know is that that's where the transformation comes in. Mm-hmm. That's where we have to do exactly what you and I have done, yes, where we take each other's hands, yes, and we look in each other's eyes, yes, and we say, girl, you get back up, you restore yourself, you resource yourself, you refocus yourself, and then you go rock it out, because your dream is out there. Your dream is out there waiting for you. It's not just waiting for someone like you, it's actually waiting for you.
When I held your hands, I invited you to remember who Sage is and who she's always been. And she's just going through this, but she still is the person she's always been. And I remember you looking at me going, yeah. And you now, and you were doing it before, remind so many women of who they are and the evidence that they already have. You are like one of the staples on a plate. Like, for every woman emerging into the next best version of herself, she needs to have a serving of Sage. That's what I believe. I truly believe that. So how can she find you?
She can find me at womenrockingbusiness.com.
Perfect.
And when you head to my website, you can grab a copy of my best-selling Hay House book, Women Rocking Business, a 12-step system to go from just having an idea or a dream to launching a purposeful business. And when you buy the book off my website, you'll get an awesome bonus course to go along with it.
What I love about your book is that the first thing you have is a great idea about a business you can create. And right after that are all the questions of, how do I do it, right? And so your book helps to expand that moment and give more insight. Thank you so much for coming on today. I love to find excuses to be with you. And this was a great one so that our beautiful audience can meet you and they can see you and they can know you and know of you and that you are a resource for them.
Thank you for everything you've done to become Lisa Nichols. I don't know what this world would be like without you. You are a shining light for women everywhere.
Thank you so much. I'm Lisa Nichols, and this is Breakthrough with Lisa Nichols. And you just listened to one of the best people on the planet, Sage Levine. Please check her out. Your next breakthrough could be wrapped in the package called Sage. I love you, sis.
I love you, sis.
Don't forget to hit subscribe so I can keep getting you weekly content to grow your business that is relevant, authentic, and effective, so you can get out there and shine your light and be the messenger that you're here to be, because your clients are waiting for you.